But taking pets is something I've gotten pretty hardcore on. I will tell you that, because it's a tough deal. And many people renting single-family houses, especially, or apartments on the farther out edges of town, are doing that because they have pets and they're specifically looking. So it requires a little bit more diligence and a little bit more preparation. Pets or not, I am not personally a pet person, so maybe I'm a little less sympathetic than other people, but I know that some of the apartment complexes will have a limit, like no dogs more than 25 or 30 pounds or whatever, but it is a tough situation. Male cats tend to mark their territory. It may not be visible in the house. We allowed somebody with cats recently at the Galveston property in our garage apartment out there, not in the main house, but the garage apartment, and the cat had marked the whole thing, and it took, my son's down there managing that property for me, and he said, Dad, he said, you just can't believe it. He said the odor, they had to really go way out to get it settled down. But again, you may have properties that are not easy to rent unless you accept pets. And all I can say is you want to have a heck of an inspection on the way in, and you want to have even better inspection on the way out, so you're not paying for somebody else's pet damage. And again, it's not an easy deal.
Any thoughts on security or comfort animals? And now I think they're moving into piglets too, not just dogs.
My gut reaction, and I have been in many places where we've had the so-called comfort animals, is that it's nonsense. You know, I grew up in a generation with the famous German Shepherd seeing eye dog, and I fully respect that. There are people who have significant physical disabilities, who have specially expensive, specially trained animals that are helping them. We don't ever want to be in a situation where we're discriminating against those people. And in fact, if you have enough units, you're going to be covered by discrimination law, so you need to really be careful. But in terms of comfort animals and stuff like that, I'm unimpressed. I can tell you the trend line today is it's gotten so bad that people are starting to require medical evidence. And I saw something recently, and I can't recall exactly, but in the last 2 weeks, there was a medical doctor, somebody who came out publicly and said that this is really getting ridiculous, and that one way to control it is to say, where's the medical evidence? That somebody just doesn't put a little scarf around a dog that says comfort animal, and you're expected to do that.
I know there is some kind of a certificate. Is that the medical evidence that's required?
Well, yeah, you want something from a medical doctor, but this is certainly going to be a continuing issue. But that doesn't mean, in terms of accommodation, I don't know that that's been completely sorted out yet, in terms of whether you're required to accommodate an animal of any kind, whether it's legitimate or not.
It seems like it has.
Yeah.
That you are required. They can't disqualify you because of the animal, even if it's a no pet place. That's what I've been told that the law says, and you can't ask for a deposit, a pet deposit, or any types of changes in rent because
I would take a hard look at that
animal.
no pet deposit. So where did you hear that you couldn't ask for a pet deposit?
Through I had a client like that.
Yeah.
And I started talking to my broker about it.
Yeah.
And they said that they had heard about it, and that they also understand that you can't require a deposit. And I actually put the lady in the house. The other agent knew about it, and he understood, and he said, we'll just collect a deposit on the other dog. But he said, send me the certificate and a picture of the dog, and we did. And this girl's only in her 20s and has some kind of a heart problem, so she needs a comfort animal.
Yeah. Well, again, I would certainly get some paperwork on it, but I am not aware of any situation that would require you to waive a pet deposit, just, you know, so you might want to check. If you run into that again, you might be, I know you've got already, that deal's already baked.
Right.
But I would check that out, because those are not related events. If you let an animal into the property, whether it's a so-called comfort animal or a seeing eye dog, which are very highly regulated animals, by the way. The seeing eye dogs, they have to be like 2 years old of extensive training. They only work for like the next 5 years, and then they get retired. In fact, there's a whole business of
Yeah, this
people
one's,
taking
this one's
them
like
retired.
that too. She said
Yeah.
it's almost to its retirement age.
Yeah.
And she's already had to put in for another dog to start being trained.
Precisely.
When she has to swap them out.
Right, and the positive side to that, if it's a legitimate trained animal, the likelihood of accidents in the house and stuff is extremely low because they're using a particular age range of animal where they're used to only going out a couple times a day. But there's a lot of animals that do not follow the rules, but those they're well-trained, you know, well-qualified, certified dogs, but if people are just running a scam, you know, it's going to get a lot messier. But again, I'm not aware of any restriction on the pet deposit. One of the things I didn't mention that I did want to mention is I'm a huge fan of getting rid of carpet, and I don't have, I have very limited carpet in some of my properties. One of the things I do when I buy a property and renovate it is I take all the carpet out. And there's new tile products that are very popular that look like wood. Many of my friends who've had their house, first floor of their houses flooded are going to replace their wood first floor with tile that looks like wood. Tile's not foolproof. It can be broken, it can be cracked, but tile and wood and wood veneers are really becoming popular, and they are much easier to maintain and as against pet situations. When I decided to do that, I've had multiple rental properties. I had a rental property where the tenants killed the carpet in 1 year. And it was a decent builder grade carpet. It wasn't super high end, but it was carpet that I expected to last 4 to 5 years, and it looked bad in 1 year. And they had dogs. And so, like I said, there's a reason I'm not pushing the dog thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
but carpet can show some wear. The other thing is, in terms of renting, having no carpet is if people have allergies or asthma. My house in Virginia is carpet free, and actually, and again, I'm renting really quickly to the new tenant. Is I actually put in there that there's no carpet in the house, that it's all tile and wood, and I think that helped. A medical doctor's renting it, by the way, so I think it helped because they appreciate the fact that you know it's really, really hard to clean carpet successfully, to really get any type of allergens and stuff out.
Right.
So, and that could be a legitimate reason not to rent property to people even with service animals if you're renting apartments on a hypoallergenic basis. Related to that, and this is not something we did in our Heights restoration because frankly we were so far behind we couldn't spend the time looking, is another thing that's popular today is low VOC paint, low volatile organic compounds. So if you're hiring a painter, you may designate low VOC paint, and then when you're renting the property, you can actually say this property's been freshly painted, but we use low VOC paint. I think that's going to become more common in the future. Seems like, again, with the continuing involvement of people using you know, service animals and people having all sorts of medical excuses and stuff, that it's I can see that coming where people are going to say, we really want a place that has as little allergy exposure as possible. And I think if you do accommodate people in those situations, you're liable to have longer term tenants.
Well, and maybe less liability too.
Right.
If you had somebody that had to had an accident and was temporarily on a cane or something,
Right.
and went from a carpet to a wood floor or a tile, you know,
Yeah.
they might fall down or trip or something.
Precisely.